What's up, homies? It's Ryan, and today we are back, episode number 4 of our Out of the Park Baseball 19 series with the Seattle Mariners. It is Friday, June 29th, so I was going to simulate up until Monday, July 2nd, because as you can see, they're up in the top right. That's when the international free agent signing period begins. But I had to DFA Juan Nicasio. I just did not have any room for him. Nick Vincent was ready to come back up, and so I needed to DFA reliever. I decided to do it to Nicasio, and I was kind of hoping that he would, after he went through waivers for that 3-day period, I was kind of hoping that he would just take his job in AAA, but he refused the demotion, so I figured, all right, let me shop the guy around, because especially this time of year, teams are always looking for relievers. And they're, to my surprise, because this is a guy that's making about $7.5 million through 2019, so we would have had him for another year anyway. To my surprise, there was actually kind of a big market for him. And there are some names here that I definitely took a look at, but the one that really intrigued me and the one that I think is really going to help our team out is Christian Vasquez. Now, as you remember, Mike Zunino, he was injured a while back, so he's not going to be back for a while. So we really need a catcher because right now we're trying to get by with two guys that probably should not be on a major league roster. And so I see this guy in Christian Vasquez, right? He's 27 years old. His offense is, it's okay. It's nothing to write home about. You see, he's probably a 40 grade contact hitter. He has a good eye up there at the plate. He's not going to strike out a lot. But the thing that really intrigued me was his defense. You see, he's an 80 grade catcher. He's got a great catcher ability and an arm behind the plate. And I think that's not going to only help our team, but our pitching staff as well. So we're going to make this trade here in Nicasio for Christian Vasquez. And you see our GM really likes the trade. Our available money improves to a total of $10.2 million. Now, I always like to do this when I'm making a trade with other teams. I just like to look at their prospects, see maybe what else I can get. So it's, I'm not trying to be necessarily realistic here. So now he says he'll need to think about this offer for Michael Chavez. Now, see, that's not realistic. As much as I would love to do this, I would never do something like that. That's something where I would have to probably throw in an Edwin Diaz, and even then it's probably not going to be enough. So that might be something that I look at again, maybe closer to the deadline. But this is not realistic. Obviously, you're not going to trade a 31-year-old Juan Nicasio for one of the top prospects in the Red Sox farm system. You see, he had good leadership skills, so this is not a realistic trade. So I'm not going to do that. But so we're just going to remove it. I just like to see if I can get maybe something. I'm not going to get. I would love to get Jay Groom. He's the local kid. He's from New Jersey. He went to Barnegat. I actually saw him pitch before he got drafted. He's a hell of a player. I hope that he ends up becoming something. Yeah, that's a very bad deal for us, so he wouldn't want to do that. It's interesting that he would want to trade Chavez so easily. I don't understand why they would. Not that we need a third baseman at this point anyway, because we still have Seager, but I like to just always try to see maybe if there's just like a lottery ticket prospect that we can get. So maybe something, it wouldn't hurt to get maybe like a pitcher here. So give me just 1 second. I'm just going to see here if I can just find maybe a prospect to throw in this trade, just to try to build up the farm system a little more. All right, so I found the offer that I want to do. It's maybe not what I want to do, but I think it's the best option that we have available. So we're going to get Vasquez and this right fielder, Angel Gonzalez, in return for Juan Nicasio. Now, I was trying to get one of the starting pitching prospects. I was trying to get this guy, Darwinzon Hernandez. I was trying to get Brian Mata. I was trying to get a couple other pitching prospects, but they would not let them up without me giving up a big piece. And at this point, as the razor thing comes up, at this point, I'm not really trying to make any big deals. I just want to make this small deal right now and then wait a little bit until I start making, some big deals. If I end up getting to that point, you see, we were 37-45, so we're not going to be contenders this year. We're last in the AL West. Technically we're tied for third, but that doesn't mean anything at this point. So we're going to trade Juan Nicasio for Christian Vasquez and Angel Gonzalez, and we are going to complete that trade. And that is good because now we can go to rosters and transactions. Vasquez is going to be on the active roster. Whoops, yeah, okay, I figured that. So we will send down, we're going to send down Tuffy Goswitch down to AAA. Then we're going to call Vasquez, and we'll see if Neuenhuis wants to go to AAA. I hope that he does. Okay, cool. So he did not refuse demotion, which is great. So now if we go to lineups, I just want to see what the bench coach does and see if I want to change it. yeah, so we want Vasquez getting all the starts. We'll have Marjama going there, I guess, like every maybe 7th game, I guess. Makes sense. So yeah, Vasquez, and then Vasquez every 7th game. And I don't know if we have any interleague series coming up, but just in case, got Vasquez, and then Vasquez. By the way, as you can probably see already, we called up Dan Vogelbach from AAA. Ray Navarro got injured. He was our backup second baseman, or he might have been our starting second baseman, and we had Segura at shortstop. He got injured for 7 weeks, so we decided to flip around the lineup a little bit. So we took Ryan Healy out of his starting first base spot. He was not doing good at all. As you can see, he was slashing 194, 228, 335, which is not good at all. So we take him out of a starting spot. We put in Dan Vogelbach, who was doing good at Tacoma, which is AAA. He was hitting 320, 422, 542. So he was OPSing over 900. He had 13 home runs and 46 RBI. And then we put Segura back to his normal second base spot. We put Andrew Romaine in the starting shortstop spot. We called up Gordon Beckham from Tacoma to be our backup infielder at second, third, and short. We still have Nelson Cruz playing. We have Nelson Cruz as our DH, Ben Gamel in left field, D. Gordon in center, Mitch Haniger is in right field, and now we have Christian Vasquez as our starting catcher. So hopefully that'll help out the pitching staff. You see, it's still doing okay. It could be better. Paxton is a 3.75 ERA. Hernandez is under 4. Leak is a tick over 4. Erasmo Ramirez is probably doing about what you would expect. Marco Gonzalez is still having a solid run in the rotation, which is kind of surprising to me. I'm kind of waiting for him to just go down a little bit. He's probably being aided by that BABIP of 251. That's his lowest in a while. So yeah, he's only striking out. He's striking out less than 5 guys per 9 innings. He's walking close to 2. I think the big thing for him, he's not letting up a lot of home runs, but as you see, that's kind of not been true recently. He let up 3 home runs against the Red Sox, 2 home runs against the Orioles. So hopefully he just keeps, holding his ground. That way we can maybe trade him for something at the deadline. I don't know. But let's just simulate up here a couple days until we get to the international free agent signing period. Lose to Kansas City. Right there. We win against Kansas City. Can we take 2 out of 3? I'd imagine we can. Kansas City's not very good. Nope. We lose 7-1. Great. So there we go. Oh, by the way, forgot to do this. The midseason review of goals. Howard Lincoln. They say winning fixes everything. It would sure be nice if we could get the team to fix some things during the second half of the year. So you remember that our owner wanted us to play around 500 ball. Don't think that's going to happen, especially after we trade some guys at the deadline. But extend your player. So he wants us to extend Nelson Cruz. We're not going to extend Nelson Cruz. I don't want him on the team, unless I'd consider extending him for another year if it gets to the point where I try to shop him around and nobody wants him. But the problem with Nelson Cruz is that his market is very limited in that we're going to need to trade him to an American League team that needs a DH, because that's all that Nelson Cruz can play at this point, really. Because you look at his position ratings, he can't play the outfield anymore. He's not good at all. He'd be a negative there at that point. So we need to find a team in the American League that needs a bat in the middle of the lineup that also needs a DH for, as a rental. So it's going to be tough to find a partner for us to trade Nelson Cruz to, but we'll take a look. We'll take a look and see what's available when that time comes. And then he wants us to acquire a Cy Young Award winner. So let me just see, hypothetically, if I went to the free agent, free agents. Let me just see if there's any starting pitchers available that have won a Cy Young. So you want to look at starting pitchers. I kind of wonder if Lincecum is available. Oops. Oh, okay. There's only 2 pages of starters. Let me check relievers, because maybe by this point they are a reliever. Does not look like it. Jerome Williams, former Philly. All right, there are a lot of these guys. So I just wanted to, because I imagine that Lincecum would not cost a ton to try and get. So he's in the Rangers organization. How is he doing? He is actually doing pretty well. So I want to trade for him. Trade for player. Why not? Make this work now. What's it going to take? Perfect. We'll trade. Who's this? Greifer Andrade, I suppose, would be good. Or maybe this guy. How about Reggie McClain, 25-year-old in high A? Yeah, we'll trade him. We'll trade the 25-year-old in high A for the Cy Young Award winner. Where is he? There he is. It does make sense. Our money would drop. It's fine. He's only on a 1-year deal, right? Yeah, okay. So we'll get him. There's our Cy Young Award winner. It's great. So now if we go to rosters and transactions, we are going to put him on the disabled list for 10 days. Let him rehab his sore shoulder. And there we go. There is our Cy Young Award winner. And there we go. Look at that. Acquire Cy Young Award winner. Acquire Tim Lincecum. Great. Keep building your team up in order to reach the playoffs. Okay, by 2021. Fair enough. Yeah, okay, so let's simulate. Oh, it is today. Okay. That's what this game gets a little, I'm not going to say overwhelming because I'm not overwhelmed, but there's just like a lot of times so much to do. So international free agent signing period, great. International amateurs. We can spend up to $5 million a year. Now, there are penalties for going over, but there are situations where you would want to go over and take the hit next year. Now, this is a guy that I would definitely like to get, O'Neal Manzueta. Now, in my experiences, because this is not the first time I've seen this name, he does usually turn out to be pretty good. So I would think I'm going to get him. You see, he has a very good hit tool. Power is really the only thing he doesn't have in terms of home run power, but everything else is really good. He'd probably be limited to left field. But I think we're going to take a chance at him. Now, his demand is 3.4. I'm going to just right off the bat try to get him for 3.8 just to try to avoid some bidding wars. So we're going to ask for that response. Now, the problem, if you've never played this game before, the problem with international amateurs is that you can get into bidding wars to the point where you see he only wants 3.4. I gave him 3.8. It gets to the point where you could you could end up offering these guys $5, $6, $7 million without even realizing it. So you just have to make sure that you want to give those guys the money. Now, here's a shortstop prospect. He's pretty good. I don't think I'm going to sign him. He only wanted 1.1 mil, but it's not really what I'm looking for at this point. Although he does have that power tool, which is interesting. He has a solid hit tool, a really good power tool, no gap power. He's got a good eye. He's going to strike out a fair bit. Cherishes his privacy. Can't wait to leave after a game. I don't know. It's a shame because there's not really any pitching, which is a shame. All players, yeah. There's a couple pitchers, which is a shame. Normally I'd like to look for like some pitchers that could be good, but it seems there's not really any pitchers. This is it's kind of a weak international class, I suppose. But I think we're just gonna try our best here to get O'Neal Manzueta. Maybe the problem with him is that he can hit. And he can't do anything else really. I mean, he wants like a 6-figure salary though, so I think we'll take a chance on a Christopher Echeverria offer contract. We'll try to get it up there to $850. And yeah, okay. So now it's just the waiting game to see what else happens. We'll see who we're going to be in a bidding war with. So let's just simulate up here a couple days. Draft pick signing deadline is July 4th. So we should get news from these guys pretty soon. Manzueta, contract negotiation. So Boston is now offering him, what? So do you have any other ideas? Offer contracts. So they're offering him, wow. Okay. So we're going to just try to use all of our signing here to get, we do not have enough money. Oh, whoops. Yep, okay, hold on. So we have to go back here. We have to pull this contract offer. Hold on 1 second. Okay. Yeah, so we're going to withdraw this. He's going to be upset, but that's fine. We really want to get Manzueta, so we're going to offer the contract. And we're going to give him 4.6 just to see if that's fine. And this is what I'm talking about. You get into these bidding wars, and you end up not being able to get a Minnesota trade offer, send Grossman to get... No. So now we're just going to be in a wait-and-see period. So we get a compensation pick for Zach Prasner, which is good. So we will get an additional round 3 pick next year, which is fantastic. Since we were not able to sign Prasner, he ended up going to San Diego State, which is fine. We did end up getting Nick Decker, which I was happy about. And in real life, Decker actually ended up going in the second round to the Boston Red Sox, which is pretty cool. Manzueta, oh no. The Cubs offer contract. So he wants this. This is all we can do. We can't go over. Yeah, we can't. It's a shame that we can't go over because our owner's not going to let us do it. So we're going to meet the demand. As for response, yeah, I can't go over. So I don't think we're going to be able to get Manzueta, which is a shame. We could try to trade for him technically, but we don't really have the assets. So I can't go over, I don't think, right? Yeah. Now it's a shame because that's a shame. All right. Well, we're not going to get him, unfortunately, which is fine. So we'll just go to international amateurs, and we'll go to pending offers. And okay, good. No offers. Good. Yeah, so we can't get Manzueta, which is unfortunate, but maybe we can recoup our losses and get this Toribio guy. So what is he at right now? 1.2? We'll try to get him for 1.4. Yeah, okay. So we'll try to get Toribio, and maybe this Christopher Martin guy wouldn't be awful. Or Martinez, I don't know why I said Martin. Martinez, perhaps. I don't know if I'd rather have Martinez or Echeverria. I think I'd rather have Martinez. There's actually an easier way to do this. I can just do this. Yeah. I mean, Martinez has the power and the eye. I think Martinez is a better well, now see, Echeverria has the speed and the defense. So it's really, do I want contact, speed, and defense, or a more potent bat at the expense of other things? I think I'd rather have. In today's MLB landscape, you would probably want the power and the eyes. So I think we're gonna go with Christopher Martinez. I think that's probably that's just gonna be easier doing this. It's probably just gonna be better going for Christopher Martinez. We're gonna offer him the contract. He wants, and the thing though now you have to consider is that we could get both of them, I think, if we really wanted to. So let's try that. Ask for response. We'll try Martinez, and then we'll try to get Echeverria too. Oh, that's right. No, we withdrew our offer. Whoops. All right, that's fine. Is there anybody else here that I really want? Do we really want Osvaldo Guerrero? 17 years old. Not really. So we're just gonna try to get Toribio at Martinez. So I'm gonna simulate ahead probably until the All-Star break, and then hopefully we have some good news about the international guys. All right, we are at Sunday, July 15th, 2018. Your Mariners 42-54, 14 games back in the AL West, and we are, how far are we? 14 games back in the AL Wild Card. So we're done. We are not doing anything this year. Not that that's a surprise. It's a shame. We see here season-ending injury for Shohei Ohtani. So let's see how he's doing this year. So he was 9-6. He went 108 innings. He posted a 3.66 ERA. So let's see. Batting wise, he was slashing 251, 299, 445. So the OPS plus of 100, 744 OPS. He had 11 home runs. Yeah, it's not an awful first impression for the major leagues. You have to remember he's only 24 years old, so we'll see. What was the injury again? A sore shoulder impingement. Ugh, yuck. All right. So he's gone. We ended up getting Toribio. We did not get Martinez. He just kept wanting more money. So we only got one international free agent that we were targeting in Luis Toribio, which is fine. Hopefully he'll be a good first division starter when he gets to the major leagues in several years. Remember, he's only 17 years old, so it's going to be a while before we hear about him again. But the All-Star rosters were announced. I believe we only had one in James Passos, our relief pitcher, and we did. Now, he might fetch something at the trade deadline. I'm hoping that he does. So here are your All-Star rosters. You have Carrasco, Garrett Cole, Jacob Faria, who's having a very good year, Dallas Keuchel, Corey Kluber, Chris Sale, Aaron Sanchez, Blake Snell, Chad Green, Ben Heller, Pazos, Roldis Chapman, Daniel Hudson, Andrew Miller are your pitchers. And then the batters for the American League, Wellington Castillo made it. Was he the only Chicago White Sox player? That's the only way. Oh, no, they had Avisail Garcia and Laurie Garcia. Wow. I thought that he would be their only representative, but I want to see how the White Sox are doing. I imagine then if they get 3 representatives, they got to be doing all right, I suppose. Oh no, they're only 43 and 51. That's very surprising. I did not expect to see that. All right, anyway, Castillo, Russell Martin, Gary Sanchez are your catchers. Martin Gonzalez, Brian Dozier, Jason Kipnis, Josh Donaldson, Mike Moustakas, who's having a very good year with the Royals. Jose Ramirez, Elvis Andrus, Carlos Correa, Manny Machado are the infielders. In the outfielders, Chris Davis, Laurie Garcia, Jackie Bradley Jr., Mike Trout, no surprise. Nick Castellanos, Lonnie Chisenhall, Avisel Garcia, Aaron Judge, and Giancarlo Stanton, who is injured, hyperextended knee, yuck. And then in the National League, Bumgarner, Frank Garces, Clayton Kershaw, Carlos Martinez, Jose Quintana, Robbie Ray, Noah Syndergaard, Alex Wood, Arodys Vizcaíno, Kenley Jansen, Mark Melancon, AJ Minter, Brandon Moore, Pat Neshek. So I imagine Neshek was the Phillies' only representative, if I had to guess. Yep. Are your pitchers? I wish Neshek could be doing that in real life. Unfortunately, he's still coming back from an injury, so we have not seen him yet for the Phillies. Wilson Contreras, Yasmani Grandal, Buster Posey, Josh Bell, Cody Bellinger, Joey Votto, Starlin Castro, Nolan Arenado, Chris Bryant, Anthony Rendon, Addison Russell, Corey Seager, Michael Conforto, Christian Yelich, Charlie Blackmon, Lorenzo Cain, AJ Pollock, Bryce Harper, Domingo Santana, and Steven Souza Jr. And as I say that, I just saw that Hoskins hit a home run, 3-run shot, which is great. So hopefully Hoskins gets on a hot streak, reads Hoskins. I got the Phillies-Brewers game on next to me, so see that he hit a home run, which is nice. But yeah, those are your All-Star rosters. So we're just going to simulate here past the All-Star game. We'll get up to about the trade deadline. So let's take a look at the schedule here, scores and schedules. So I guess we'll simulate up until the end of the Angels series. So we'll go up to, I guess, July 29th or 30th, and then we'll start to see maybe who we want to trade away. So I'll see you guys again on July 30th. All right, it is Monday, July 30th. We just swept the Los Angeles Angels somehow. I don't know how that happened, but we did it. The Mariners are 47 and 58, so 11 games under 500. So obviously we are sellers. Let's take a look at the MLB standings just to see what's going on around the league. So the Yankees are leading the AL East by 2.5 games over the Red Sox. The Blue Jays are still in there at four games. The Orioles are 29 and 79. Wow. Oh, wow, that's not good at all. Wow. The Indians are 65 and 38. They have run away with the AL Central. The Astros and the Angels are going at it in our division, the AL West. The Rangers not really that close. In the NL East, you have the Mets, the Nationals, the Phillies, the Braves, and then the Marlins. The Orioles they are by far the worst team. They are 9 games worse than the Detroit Tigers. That is, wow, I've never seen a team do that bad. The Cubs, the Cardinals, the Pirates in the NL Central. The Cubs have run away with that. The Cardinals are 12.5 back. So the wild card races seem to be the big thing. The Dodgers have run away. So the Dodgers have basically won the AL West, or the NL West. The Cubs have basically won the NL Central. The Indians have basically won the AL Central. It seems more likely than not that the Mets have won the NL East. So basically the only 2 divisional races that are kind of interesting are the AL West and the AL East at this point. So it seems like the wild card is really the big thing at this point. Take a look at the AL wild card. The Red Sox are 1.5 up on the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays have a nice 4.5 game lead over the Angels, who have lost 7 in a row. So they've gotten cold at the worst time. The Twins are 5.5 back. Rays are 7.5 back. And then in the National League, the Diamondbacks 1 up over the Cardinals. Cardinals and the Giants are tied, basically by percentage points. The Rockies are 2 back. Nationals 3.5 back. Phillies 5.5 back, and then that's your NL wildcard race basically. So that is great. Let's take a look at how your Mariners are doing. Take a look. Let's start with pitching. You see Paxton a 4.20 ERA. Hernandez 3.87. Leak 4.11. Gonzalez 3.90. Erasmo Ramirez is forget to talk 4.69. Edwin Diaz is not doing all that well. He's gotten better. His ERA was close to 5 at one point, so he's gotten a little better. James Pazos, hopefully we can get something for him in a trade. Nick Vincent's doing good. Andy Romero has not He was doing very well. Now he's not doing well at all. So he's going to be replaced in the bullpen probably. Mike Morin's still doing good. Armstrong's doing good. Wilmer Font is doing all right. Taking a look at the lineups here, I'll start by OPS. Dan Vogelbach has really lit it up since he came up from AAA. He's slashing 304, 385, 663 with 10 home runs. He's actually he's tied for 4th on the team in home runs, and he came up 25 games ago. And his BABIP is league average, so he's doing very well. I'm waiting for him to kind of go down. He will go down at some point, but 209 strikeouts to 12 walks. That's not too bad. Nelson Cruz, he has 23 home runs, so I should be able to get something for him. As I said earlier, it's just going to be tough trying to find a trade partner because there's only so much that this guy can do. He has a 783 OPS. Yeah, the offense has not been very good this year. You only have one guy OPSing over 783. And it's the guy that you called up 25 games ago, so that's not too good. Segura slashing 298, 335, 408. He's not doing too bad. 17 stolen bases. Christian Vasquez, he's actually doing a lot better than I thought he would be. I'm sure he's helping out the pitching staff. Mitch Haniger is not doing as well in this save as he is in real life. He's only hitting 231, 331, 399. Romine, wasn't expecting too much from him. That's probably about what you would expect, a 709 OPS. D. Gordon is hitting 308 with 336 on base percentage, almost no slugging to speak of, 38 stolen bases. He's been caught 15 times. Kyle Seager is not doing well either. He signed through 2022. He's angry. So if he could request a trade at some point, that would be great. Ben Gamel hitting 231, 306. And I say I'm hoping Seager requests a trade because I said I want this to be realistic, and I imagine that the Mariners would not trade him this year. In real life, so I kind of want this to be realistic. Sometime down the road, maybe, but not this year, so I can't really trade him. Healy, yeah, that's the rest of the offense. So, I think the guys I'm going to look to trade, I'm probably going to try to get something out of Gonzalez. He could be a solid back of the rotation arm for a contending team. He's a leader in the clubhouse, which is good. So we'll try to trade him to a team that needs a pitcher. If we could get out of Leake's contract, that would be good as well. So we'll try to get something out of Leake. Definitely going to try to get something out of our bullpen pieces. I definitely want to trade Pazos. I want to see what I can get out of Vincent as he's 32 years old. He's not going to be around for too much longer. We'll see if I can get anything out of Mike Morin, maybe as a throw-in or something to make a return better, because this is the best he's performed in quite a while. I want to say since at least 2015. So I want to see what I can get for him. Maybe Sean Armstrong, maybe Wilmer Font. In terms of the lineup, the only guy that I'm going to try to get something out of Nelson Cruz. I'm not going to try to get anything out of D. Gordon. I mean, they just traded for this guy in the offseason, so I don't think they would want to trade him. His morale's great, so he doesn't want to go anywhere. So we'll keep him. I think the only offensive guy we're going to try to get something out of is Nelson Cruz. Because we're not going to trade Mitch Haniger. Yeah, the only guy we're going to try to get something out of is Nelson Cruz. So I am going to cut away. That way this video doesn't drag on forever. And we're going to see what we can get for some of these guys. So I'll be back, hopefully with good news about some new prospects in the farm system. All right, wow. So I saw that I've been recording for 2 hours and 45 minutes now. So the trade deadline took a little longer than I thought it would. I gotta say, I did not envision doing everything that I did. I was not anticipating making the trades that I did, but then I thought about it, and it just made sense for the team and the organization, not only now, but especially for the future as well. As we said when we started this series, the farm system was depleted to all hell. So we really needed to focus on rebuilding that starting this year. I did not trade everyone. I traded a good handful, maybe more than a handful of people. The team definitely looks a lot different than it did when we started this episode number 4. So I'm going to go step by step and talk about the trades that I made, and hopefully y'all will understand my mindset And definitely let me know what you think about the trades down in the comment section below. But to start, the first trade we made, so we made a total of 5 trades over July 30th and July 31st. The first trade that we made was with the Minnesota Twins. And you see we traded, the main piece of this trade was Edwin Diaz, our 24-year-old closer. But the full package, we traded 20-year-old minor league starting pitcher Jesus Osorio, 24-year-old minor league second baseman Donnie Walton, Edwin Diaz. We also traded 27-year-old right fielder Mitch Haniger, and 21-year-old minor league second baseman Grafer Andrade to the Minnesota Twins. And we got a very nice prospect package from them. We get 20-year-old minor league right fielder Alex Kirilloff, 23-year-old minor league starting pitcher Fernando Romero, 19-year-old minor league second baseman Ricardo De La Torre, 23-year-old minor league first baseman Brent Rooker, and 19-year-old minor league right fielder Akil Baddoo. So with this trade, this was initially the team I was going to trade Nelson Cruz to, but then I did not trade Cruz because I figured, all right, if I'm going to trade Edwin Diaz, I'm going to try to keep Cruz out of this package and try to trade him in something else. So I trade Edwin Diaz. Now, especially in real life and in this game too, the Twins offense is a little underwhelming. So I decided to trade them Mitch Haniger. Maybe a change of scenery helps him out, but he's already kind of an upgrade over some of the guys they have in that lineup right now. They're in the thick of the playoff race. They're about 4.5, 5 games back at this point. They could really use some bullpen help, so we give them Edwin Diaz, one of the best relief pitchers in all of baseball. And then we also throw in some minor league guys that were never going to really contribute to our team at any point in Grafer Andrade, Donnie Walton, and Jesus Osorio. And in return, we get that nice prospect package. Now, in real life, it differs on what list you look at, but we get Brent Rooker, who, at the list I'm looking at, is their number 3 prospect. He can play outfield and first base. Take a look at his stats. He has a very good hit tool. He's a very good first baseman. Can't really play the outfield, but, I mean, he knows how to. Good home run power. He's got a solid eye, okay gap power. He's going to strike out a lot, but I decided to take a chance on Brent Rooker. The list I'm looking at has him at number 3. We get Fernando Romero. The list I'm looking at, he has them at 5. We take a look at him. 55 great potential stuff, so he could, solid stuff. 60 great potential control. He has the potential to have 3+ pitches with that fastball, that curveball, and that changeup. He gets it up there to 95 to 97 miles per hour, so we're going to hope that he becomes a good starting pitcher for us. We also got, I'm just scrolling down this list, Alex Kirilloff, who was number 7 on this list. 55 potential grade for contact and gap power, 60 grade home run power and eye. Hopefully he's going to strike out a fair bit as well. But that's the major leagues these days. You're going to have guys that, have this good home run power tool, this good power tool, but they're going to strike out a lot. That's the downside. So we're going to take a chance here on Alex Kirilloff. We also get in this deal Akil Baddoo, who's kind of, it depends who you ask. Some people really like him. Some people are not very high on him. It really depends. He's a high risk, high reward. He has a high ceiling if he ends up reaching his upside, but he also has a very low floor if he does not. So I'm going to take a chance as a guy that on some lists is in the top 10, other lists, top 15. So we're going to take a chance on Akil Baddoo, and then we also get second baseman Ricardo De La Torre, the guy that should be able to anchor our middle infield if he really does reach his potential for years to come. So that was the first trade that we made with the Minnesota Twins, trying to help out the farm system mainly. The second trade that we made was with the Toronto Blue Jays. And this was the team that we ended up sending Nelson Cruz to. So we sent 38-year-old left fielder Nelson Cruz, 21-year-old minor league starting pitcher Ulysses Perez, 26-year-old minor league first baseman Mike Ford, and 30-year-old starting pitcher Mike Lee to the Toronto Blue Jays for 24-year-old minor league left fielder Anthony Alford, 23-year-old minor league catcher Danny Jansen, 23-year-old minor league first baseman Ratty Tellez, and 25-year-old minor league closer Tom Robson. So as I said, we traded Nelson Cruz. As I get this page back up. So we trade Nelson Cruz to a team that is in the thick of a playoff race. They're probably going to get a wild card spot. I would imagine. They're probably not going to win the AL East. They're just not that talented, but they needed a bat. So we get We give them that bat in Nelson Cruz. We get Mike Leake off the books. They really wanted Mike Leake, and they could use a pitcher, so I wasn't too surprised. But we get Mike Leake's contract off the books, and you'll see with a lot of these trades, we get these guys who had like these really big contracts for multiple years. We get them off the books. That wasn't really the deal with Minnesota, but we're gonna start with Toronto. We get Mike Leake off the books. That's one less contract we have to worry about in the future when we start trying to get some of the bigger name free agents to try to come to Seattle. And in return, we get Anthony Alford, who is the number 3 on this list I'm looking at. Obviously, we couldn't get Vlad Guerrero Jr. or Bo Bichette. It just was not going to happen. I didn't even try because at that point, it's not realistic. They're not going to trade those guys for anything whatsoever. But we get Anthony Alford. We get Danny Jansen, a catcher, who is number 6 on their list. We give Rowdy Tellez, who's really fallen off. People that have played out of the park baseball for a while will remember this is really one of the guys that you wanted to try to get if you were making trades. His power tool was extremely good to the point where he'd be hitting 35, 40 homers a year for you. He's fallen off a little bit on the prospect list, I believe, on this list. Yeah, so on this list right now, he's at 17. So we're going to take a chance on him, see if he can maybe develop into anything. And then we just get a nice relief arm in Tom Robson, who, if he's not up by the end of this year, he'll be up next year, hopefully. Knock on wood, just kind of knock on wood. So that's the trade that we made with the Toronto Blue Jays to add to our farm system. The third trade that we made, I believe, was with the Astros, yes. So we make a trade with the Astros. So the Mariners trade 27-year-old reliever James Pazos, 27-year-old catcher Mike Zunino, 22-year-old minor league right fielder Luis Liberato, and 22-year-old minor league first baseman Evan White to the Houston Astros for 21-year-old minor league first baseman Yordan Alvarez, 24-year-old minor league starting pitcher Rogelio Armenteros, 19-year-old minor league center fielder Gilberto Celestino, and 18-year-old minor league first baseman Doris Carrasco. So with the Astros, this was a team that needed a reliever, obviously, try to get them over the top to help out their bullpen. And that was the main piece of this trade. We also traded that Mike Zunino just because I got the catcher that I want. I'm not the biggest fan of Mike Zunino. He wasn't going to be part of the future of this franchise no matter what. I wasn't going to try to keep him long term. So this was a guy that the Astros wanted to help out, whether, obviously he's injured right now, but when he comes back, whether they're going to have him a catcher, whether they're going to have him a DH, wherever they have him, they really wanted him, so I threw him in there. And then I threw in a couple minor league guys, lottery ticket type prospects for the Astros to see if they can do anything with. And in return, obviously, we don't get Forrest Whitley from the Astros. We don't get Kyle Tucker. We don't get J.B. Bukauskas. But we get this guy named Yordan Alvarez. He's only 21 years old, and he's already developed quite nicely now. This was a guy, he was signed by the Dodgers out of Cuba, and then he got traded to the Astros, and now he's with us. I think this is a guy that's definitely going to be a nice find for the Mariners. You see, he can play first base. He can play a little outfield, and I say that, that's a pretty conservative thing to say, that he can play a little outfield, but that might be stretching it a little bit. But he has a very nice hit tool. He'll be very nice to have in our lineup. If nothing else, he can be our DH if he can't play the field. That's one of the benefits of being in the American League. You can kind of target these guys who, even if they can't play the field, they have these really good hit tools, so you can put them in your lineup somehow. He's number 4 on this list. We get the 7th ranked prospect on this list. I'm looking at this pitcher, Rogelio Armenteros, who is 24 years old at this point, started the season at 23. A guy that's going to have a nice arsenal if he can just, hone in on that control a little bit, become just a little average. He's never going to be, have much movement. He'll have a little above average stuff if he can get up to that 55 grade that he's projected to get to. So I think that this was a good find for us, especially we do need pitching. We need a lot of things, but pitching, of course, I'm a big pitching guy. As I watched the Phillies game, they just lost 12-3. That's fantastic. 12-4 yesterday, 12-3 today. That's definitely what you want. We get Gilberto Celestino. He is, I believe, the number 10 prospect. This is a guy that they got in the international signing period a few years ago. I want to say 2015. You take a look here at his potential ratings. Contact will never be that great, but he does have the power, an okay eye. He won't strike out a ton. He's got the speed, and he can play center field, a very good center field. And I imagine he could play the other two positions too if we give him time there. But so we get Celestino, and then we get this guy Doris Carrasco. He's listed as the first baseman, but he can play. He can only play shortstop. We're gonna try him at first base, just to see. That's what he was, playing in Houston for whatever reason. So we're gonna try this. We're gonna try to have him play first base here as well. What really attracted me to him was his hit tool. And you take a look at his defensive grades in the field, his range, error, arm. He could probably play anywhere. He just needs some more time there. So we're going to try to give him time in some different infield positions and see what he can do. But the hit tool really intrigued me. He had the 55 grade contact. The gap power is never going to be anything special. The home run power, maybe double digits, who knows. Very good eye, though. He won't strike out a lot, and he's got a little speed to him. So that was the third trade we made with the Astros, just continuing to add to this farm system. The fourth trade that we made was, I believe, with the Boston Red Sox. Nope, that's not us. There we go. Yep, it was with the Boston Red Sox. This was the big one, if you're going to say anything. So we trade 29-year-old starting pitcher James Paxton, 27-year-old reliever Sean Armstrong, 28-year-old shortstop Gene Segura, and 20-year-old minor league third baseman Joe Rizzo to the Boston Red Sox for 22-year-old minor league third baseman Michael Chavez, 17-year-old minor league third baseman Danny Diaz, 22-year-old minor league starting pitcher Tanner Houck, and 21-year-old minor league second baseman Xavier LeGrand. This was... I did not envision trading Paxton, but you have to remember that he's in his arbitration year, and I took a look at the contract he would want. I went to just see what it would be if I went to offer him an extension, and he wanted a long-term deal, which isn't, it's not out of the realm. It's understandable. That's what I'm trying to say. It's understandable that he would want a long-term deal, but he wanted $21 million from his age 32 to 38 season, and I know that the amount of money, it's going to go up every year, but it's, you adjust for inflation, everything, so maybe that's a good deal, but I didn't want to invest that money in a 30-plus-year-old James Paxton who's going to be on the downside of his career. So I made the executive decision to trade him while his value was high, especially since he's not having a great year this year. He had pitched to a 4.20 ERA, 109 strikeouts, 26 walks. That's solid, but I wanted to trade him while I could, while he was still under team control. So he goes over to Boston along with a reliever and Sean Armstrong. We traded Segura also partially because you take a look at his contract. It bumps up from $9 million to $14.25 million for the next 4 seasons. So we get out of that contract, which is nice. He did very well for us. But we gave rid of Segura, and then we just gave rid of a minor league third baseman. And then we get Michael Chavez, who on this list is the Red Sox number 2 prospect, so hopefully he'll blossom into a good third baseman for us. And you'll see why we need a third baseman in a second. And I'm sure as I said that, you can probably already assume what I did. We also got Danny Diaz, who seems like he could be an absolute stud if he develops. This was the guy that they got out of the international amateur signing period a couple of years ago. He's going to strike out a lot, but everything else is great. He can play great defensive third base, really good in the infield. Not a ton of speed, but he does everything else very well. So we get Danny Diaz. That was the big guy that I wanted, and I ended up getting him. We get Tanner Houck, who on this list, let's take a look, is the number 3 prospect in the Red Sox system. It seems like he could probably end up taking over for Paxton at some point, probably not as the team's ace, but as a solid 2 or 3, hopefully. And then we get Xavier LeGrand, another guy. He's 60 great contact, not a ton of gap power, but he's got good, solid peripherals everywhere else, solid speed. He can play the infield well, good defensive second base. He can probably play other positions too if we want to try him out there. So I felt that was a nice deal. Get some more depth and some more intriguing prospects in that farm system. And then we made one final trade, and this was with the Red Sox biggest rival, the New York Yankees. So we end up trading 30-year-old third baseman Kyle Seager, 24-year-old minor league starting pitcher Nathan Bannister, and 23-year-old minor league starting pitcher Randy Bell to the Yankees for 23-year-old minor league starting pitcher Chance Adams, 23-year-old minor league right fielder Billy McKinney, 24-year-old minor league starting pitcher Dylan Tate, and 24-year-old minor league starting pitcher Domingo Acevedo. So for whatever reason, the Yankees really wanted Seager, and they had a spot for him for whatever reason. Their DH was Brandon Drury. They had Andujar at third base. Torres was still down, but he was going to get called up soon. So they wanted a bat. For whatever reason, I looked at their lineup. They could use a bat, especially a DH. So we get Seager, and we give them Seager. And it was tough, but he was very angry. It says unhappy right now. He was very angry before we traded him. So I don't think he wanted to be part of this. And I didn't want to make him be part of this rebuild that we're going through. So I decided to send him to a team where maybe he can win a ring, make the playoffs for the first time in his career. Because it wasn't going to happen in Seattle, not this year, probably not next year either. So I figure he wouldn't want to be a part of that, so we trade him away. And in return, we get, by the way, we also trade like a couple minor league starting pitchers that probably weren't going to amount to much. And we get Chance Adams, who's the number 3 prospect in their organization right now on this list that I'm looking at. I'm sure that he can be a solid 3, if not a 2, in our rotation, which will be pretty good. That would be fantastic. We get Billy McKinney, who on this list is, I want to say, number 12. We're at 10. Yep, so he is number 12 on this list. Another good outfield prospect. He has some gap power. He has an okay hit tool. He's got a little speed. He can play an okay defensive left or right field. So we get Billy McKinney. Dylan Tate, number 10 on this list. I think this was their first-round pick. I think actually this guy was taken by the Rangers, and then he was traded to the Yankees. I forget when. I think that's just what happened, though. So we get Dylan Tate, another guy that'll probably, hopefully, be a mainstay in our rotation. If not, you can never have too much pitching depth. That's why we get so much pitching. And then we get Domingo Acevedo, who is number 7 on this prospect list. Never going to have much movement, but he could have 2+ pitches in that fastball and the changeup, and then a solid one in the slider with good stuff, good control. The movement will never be there. But the stamina is also probably going to be a little bit an issue, but that's fine. You know, if he could just give me 5 innings every 5th day, I'd be okay with that. So, and maybe the stamina will improve as time goes on. Who knows? So that was the last trade that we made. So that I think we really added to the farm system. Remember, it was barren when we started this, and now it's looking pretty good. I would say. If I had to say so myself, take a look here at the reports and the info. Minor league system rankings, we have now jumped up to 14th. So you remember we were really far down before, and now we are 14th with the additions of guys like Hal, Kirilloff, Alford, and a lot of the other guys that have not showed up here. So now we have a farm system that is, will continue to be formidable as time goes on. You take a look at the team we have now. It is not very good. So we have D. Gordon leading off, followed by Ichiro Suzuki, who's in the 2-hole, because that's the best option we have at this point. Dan Vogelbach is batting 3rd, Christian Vasquez, Ben Gamel, Anthony Alford, Andrew Romines, Zach Vince, I don't know. I should probably know how to say that since I'm doing a series on this team, but I don't. And Gordon Beckham rounding out the order. Now, I'm not going to have Ichiro batting 2nd. That's a recipe for a disaster. So I don't know who I'm going to bat 2nd. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll bat Vogelbach. No, because I want him to bat 3rd. Vasquez he can't be in the cleanup spot. That's not good. So maybe we'll have, I don't want to have Alfred up there because I just want him to kind of ease into the major leagues. He only played in 4 games last year. So I kind of want him to just ease in. So maybe this is what we're going to go with for the rest of the year. I don't know, because we don't really have a ton of options. Pitching-wise, we have Felix Hernandez. We kept him here. He's fine. We're just going to keep him here for 1 more year. You see, we have him through 2019, and we want that. So I think next year, if we're bad, we'll try to get – I'm not get rid of him, but get him on a team that can give him a chance to win a ring because he's towards the end of his career. So that's something for next year. And then we have Hisashi Iwakuma. Unfortunately, Wilmer Font, who was in our bullpen, we're going to try him out as a starting pitcher. Marco Gonzalez, we did not end up trading him. We're just going to hold on to him. And Erasmo Ramirez, our bullpen is shot. Now we have Mike Moore and Nick Vincent, and then a bunch of garbage probably. If any Romero and David Phelps. We have Ryan Garten, who is in the major leagues again after being up with the Rays and the Mariners last year. Now he's back up this year after making 14 appearances at Tacoma. We have Tim Lincecum, who's probably not going to do anything for us. He's probably going to get injured several times before the end of the year. And then Chasen Bradford. It was time for him to come up. We need to see what he can do at the major league level. So we'll see what Chasen Bradford can do. You recall that I said that we got some contracts off the books. That was a big reason why I traded some of those guys. So now we take a look at the salaries. Next year will be Hernandez's last year. Cano was obviously we're still on that, but I doubt we're going to bring him back on that team option. So we take a look at D. Gordon. He's another guy, but he's only making $13 million. And then after that, we're pretty much set. You take a look at 2020. We really only have 2 players right now that are currently under contract in Robinson Cano and D. Gordon. So we have a lot of money, especially after 2019 ends. We have a lot of money to invest in free agents, which is great. So I think that'll just about do it for this episode. In the next episode, we will get to the end of the season. We will enter into free agency, and we'll see what we want to do at that point. I doubt we're going to try to make a run at the big guys like Harper and Machado and guys like that if they even hit the market, but we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. I want to thank you guys for watching episode number 4. Very active. If you've watched my OOTP series before, typically the first-year trade deadline is very active for me since I usually take over teams that have no farm system. So it's nothing out of the ordinary for me, but hope you all enjoyed it. We'll see you soon with episode number 5. Thank you for watching, guys.